We can start with speaking.
Thank you, Ujjwal. Good evening, members and speakers. Thank you for joining in today's BBF webinar along with CDSL on implementation in respect of block mechanism and pay-in validation changes in CDSL system. We are thankful to Team CDSL, Mr. Prashant Pokate, Mr. Ram Kumar, Mr. Shelton, Mr. Yogesh Kundani for providing their valuable time today for the same. On that note, I would request Mr. Prakash Pokate to initiate the session presentation, which will be followed by a standard format of interactive Q&A. Over to you, Mr. Pokate.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Vispi, and good evening to all, and welcome to this presentation on mandatory block mechanism and pay-in validations. Okay, so as Mr. Vispi said, basically we'll go through the presentation first, and I will try to explain you the operational modality, how basically this will get implemented, and subsequently we'll have a questions and answer session. Okay, so basically these are the SEBI circulars which are issued for this block mechanism. So the first circular, which was issued on July 16, 2021, wherein SEBI issued the guidelines, and initially it was the optional mechanism, and then subsequently on 18th August 2022, SEBI issued one more circular wherein block mechanism was made mandatory for early payment transactions. Basically, guidelines were issued in this circular to make block mechanism mandatory for early payment transactions. And there was one more circular that is issued on September 19, 2022, wherein this block mechanism, the guidelines for block mechanism with respect to pay-in transactions, pay-in validations are given. So, which basically covers mainly non-EP transactions. And then there was one more circular wherein certain clarifications were sought from SEBI, to which SEBI issued circular. Basically, this was more pertaining to the custodial transactions. So we'll see that in the subsequent slides. So as you all know, block mechanism facility is not new, because this is already implemented. But as on date, this is on optional basis, which is going to be made mandatory effective from 11th November 2022. Will be releasing this, and which will be made effective from 12th November. Okay, this is for early paying transactions, and there was one more circular which according to which pay-in validation, that is for non-EP transactions, block mechanism guidelines will be made applicable as per the SEBI circular. From 25th November it will be made applicable. So what is block mechanism? So basically the securities get blocked in the client account, in demat account of client who intends to sell the securities. Then as far as early paying transactions are concerned, the securities are blocked in the client account and blocked in favor of CC. Okay, and the beauty of this mechanism is the securities are debited from client account only if there is corresponding trade. If corresponding trade is there, then only at the time of paying, the securities are debited from client account. And if there is for the scenario, if there is no trade which is executed on the exchange platform, then there is no separate execution is required to return the securities to the client account. Basically, that securities are returned based on the reversal file as far as the early paying transaction is concerned. The securities are returned to the client account through the reversal file which is submitted by the clearing corporation. Now, here, the early paying transactions can be executed by the client even before the trade is executed. So, right in CDSL system, right from T-1 day, the early paying transaction can be initiated by a client or or by a broker on behalf of client if it is a POA client. Then once the transaction is initiated, early payment transaction is initiated, then securities are blocked in the client account. And let us assume that subsequently trade doesn't take place. Then on T-day evening, the securities are unblocked by CC by way of a reversal file. So if there is no trade, a reversal file is submitted by CC, and the securities which are blocked in the client account are made free on T-day itself. So these securities are not remained in block status till pay-in day. So securities immediately can be used by the client on the subsequent day. Then if the quantity set up for early payment transaction is more than the traded quantity, then in that case, quantity to the extent of obligation will only be considered for paying. The excess quantity, which will again be reversed by CC by way of a reversal file. Okay, so on T-day, once the obligations are finalized, then CC checks the obligation of the client. Then wherever CC finds the quantity which is blocked is extra, then the additional or the excess quantity is reversed by CC through the reversal file. And as I have said, here in this case, in case of block mechanism, quantity up to obligation only will be reported as a pay. So no additional securities are debited from client account. And as we have explained, excess block will become free in the client account. So what is going to happen effective from 12th November 2022? So as you all know, currently this block mechanism facility is optional. Okay, so any client who wants to execute the transaction based on the block mechanism facility, he gives the DIs with the UCC details. So wherever UCC details are provided, those transactions are executed or processed as per the block mechanism guidelines. Currently optional, but it will be made mandatory effective from 12th November 2022. So it will be released on Friday, 11th November, and it will be made effective from 12th November 2022. So once this facility will become mandatory, so providing UCC details will become mandatory. So any client giving paying instruction, any client or brokers giving the pay-in transactions on behalf of clients, they will be required to provide the transaction with UCC details mandatorily. If the UCC details are not provided in the DIS, then that transaction will not be taken for processing. And not only that, while the UCC details are provided by the client or by the broker on for the POA client, UCC details will be checked whether the details provided in the DIS, whether those are linked to the client account. So then only the further execution will be possible. Now, what are the options which will be available to the clients effective from 12th November 2022? Okay, so client can give the early payment transaction to his DP, and this early payment transaction can be interdepository early payment transaction or intra, that is within CDSL early payment transaction. Okay, so again, I'm repeating this, but you providing UCC details will be mandatory. So client can give early payment. Actually, this is the most preferred way by the client. Majority of the transactions come through this mode, early payment transactions. The other option which would be available to client is on-market transfer for interdepository. That means any client is having account in CDSL, and if he wants to do a pay-in through his NSDL pool account, then in that case, he can transfer the securities to NSDL pool by mentioning the UCC details. And as you all know, the facility which is given in the depository system. So for on-market IDT, interdepository on-market transaction, there is a flag, early payment flag, which can be basically opted by the client. So whenever any transaction on market transaction which is sent to NSDL, so that either goes with the flag early pay-in or early pay-in flag as yes or no. So if it is yes, then that transaction is sent to NSDL with early pay-in flag, and whatever quantity which is blocked is reported to the clearing corporation for the early pay-in benefit. And for on market, that flag is no. So in this case, balance is blocked, but this transaction is not applicable for giving the early pay-in benefit. Okay. And the other option which will be available to the clients is normal pay. So in CDSL, transaction type 3, which is the BO obligation confirmation, we call it as normal pay. So client can give the normal pay instruction to his DP. So in this case, again, UCC will be mandatory. Then a transaction will be checked basically with the obligation details, and if it is matched, then only it will be taken for further processing. So as we have discussed, the pay-in transactions are considered for processing only if valid UCC details are provided. So UCC details are mandatory, and not only mandatory, it has to be valid UCC details. And as basically explained earlier, the client securities will be debited, and this will be debited on the pay-in date if there exists a settlement obligation. If there is no settlement obligation, then the securities will become free in the client account. Then, so this is something new which is introduced in CDSL system. So if you see currently, there is no overdue status possible in CDSL system for early pay transactions. So effective from 12th November with this release, the members or the clients can give the early pay transaction even if there is no balance, and the status for such transactions will become overdue. Okay, so assuming if the client has given early pay transaction for 100 shares and there is insufficient balance in the client account, then the immediate status which client will get is overdue. Okay, so and subsequently, whenever the balance will come in the account to the quantity, and then the transaction will be blocked and will be reported to CC. So please note that partial balance of overdue transaction will not be considered for blocking. So what basically we want to say is, so if client has initiated an early pay transaction for quantity 100, and if there is a balance of 50 shares or less than 100 shares, so in that case, this balance will not get blocked. Transaction will remain in overdue status. Until the time it is in overdue status, it will not get reported to CC for the corresponding early pay-in or margin benefits. It is only when there is a sufficient balance, then it will be blocked and will be reported to CC for the further pay-in processing. Here, what we want to add is basically, let us assume that quantity entered or quantity entered by the DP is 100, there is a balance of 50 shares, and on T day when CDSL receives the obligation file from CC, and if the obligation is of quantity 50, then basically 50 quantity will be blocked and will be reported to CC as a early pay transaction. Okay, so so the point is, balance of overdue transaction to the extent of obligation quantity on pay-in day will be considered for pay. So now, as far as the overdue early pay-in transaction are concerned, so now the transaction which is entered before the submission of obligation details by CC will, if in overdue status, and on T day when we as a depository receive obligation details from CC, and if there is a balance, if the obligation quantity is less than the transaction quantity, but if and the balance is available, then it will be blocked. But if, let us assume, the setup quantity is 100 available balance is 50, and if the obligation quantity is 75, again the transaction will continue to be in overdue status, and then subsequently till pay-in day morning, if the quantity is received up to 75, it will get blocked. Else at 8 o'clock on the pay-in day, whatever quantity which is available in the client account up to the obligation quantity, it will be debited from client account and it will be reported as a pay into CC. So this is a change basically which we want to highlight. Then there is one more thing, the transaction, the early payment transaction, which is in overdue status, that can remain in overdue status till pay-in day morning. And on pay-in day, if any client or any member broker tries to set up the early pay-in transaction, if there is a balance, then only it will get considered. So on pay-in day, any early pay-in setup will not go in the overdue status. The overdue status will be possible if the early payment transaction is set up till T+1 UOD. Then there is one more point, block mechanism exemption to CP client. So basically, when SEBI issued the circular on 18th August, so at that time there was no clarity whether this exemption, block mechanism exemption, to be passed on to the CP clients or not. So on 27th October, SEBI issued a circular wherein it was clarified, like non-EP transactions, for early payment transactions also, the block mechanism concept will not be applicable for CP clients. But to give this benefit or give this exemption to the CP clients, the user will be required to mention the entity identifier as CP. Okay. So if there is a field in upload which for CP client will be required to be given as CP. So if it is given as CP, then the other details like CP code, CM ID, exchange ID, CC ID, and segment code will also require to be mentioned in the upload. Then what CDSL will do, if the entity identifier is CP and the CP code and CM ID combination provided by the client in the upload file, if that is as per the CP code details received from CC, then that client will be eligible for margin, so basically block mechanism exemption, and then the transaction executed will not be matched with the obligation details. Okay, so the for CP clients, the client will be required to mention the entity identifier as CP, and the other details, CP code, CMID, etc., will be required to be mentioned in the TIS, will be required to be entered by the DP in the system. And if the details entered by the DP, that is CP code and CMID, it matches with the details received from CC, then that CP client will be eligible for block mechanism exemption. And for this type of transaction, the transaction details will not be matched with the obligation details received from CC. So this is again one more change which will be applicable from 12th November. And blocking of securities. So as far as early payment transactions are concerned, blocking of securities for EP transaction will continue till pay-in day. Okay, so once the securities are blocked, after matching with the obligation details, it will remain blocked till pay-in day, so that whatever corporate action benefits, cash or non-cash corporate benefits, client will be eligible to receive those. So no separate reconciliation is required by a member to distribute these benefits to the end investors. Okay, then even in case of interdepository early payment transactions. Okay, so currently in case of IDT interdepository early payment transaction, balance is blocked and is debited on the same day after receipt of the obligation. But from 12th November onwards, in case of interdepository early payment transaction also, balance will remain blocked till the BOD of the pay-in day. it's only on pay-in day, balance will be debited from CDSL account and it will be credited to the NSDL pool account for the pay-in purpose. And of course, for interdepository on-market transactions, since securities will be moved to the NSDL pool account, so those will be reported by NSDL to CC as a pay. Then for basically for back office changes, these are the CDSL communique numbers which can be referred by the DPs. So there are various communiques which are issued by CDSL. So for more clarity, basically these communiques can be referred by the DPs. Then these are the transactions wherein the UCC details will be mandatory for clients. Or so EP transaction which is set up from client account, that is transaction type 10. So this is where the UCC details will be mandatory. Then EP transaction from CM account. So in CDSL, so if the securities are in CM account and if a broker wants to do early pay-in on behalf of client, so that will be possible. But only thing, the member will be required to provide the UCC details of the client. So member will be required to split the early pay-in transaction UCC wise. So if a member gives consolidated early pay-in transaction, obviously matching will not become possible. So the only change in members' perspective, member will be required to split the early pay-in transaction UCC wise. Then the next option where the UCC details will be mandatory will be normal pay-in transaction from client account. So client can continue to give the normal pay-in transaction from his own account. Again, UCC details will be mandatory. Transaction will get matched with the obligation detail before execution. And if matches, then on pay-in day, securities from the client account will be considered for pay to CC. Then as far as the ICCL CM is concerned, in case of ICCL CM, if a CM has not opted for auto deo facility, so in that case, ICCL CM will be required to initiate normal pay-in transaction from its pay-in account. Even here also, if that is the case, providing UCC details will be mandatory, and these instructions can again be required to be splitted UCC wise. Then IDT on market and EP transaction from client account to NSDL CM pool account, transaction type 4. So here also effective from November 12th, providing UCC details will be mandatory. Okay, so here as we have discussed, in case of IDT, there is a means basically client or a member will be required to mention in the DIS whether this IDT on market transaction is to be executed through early pay-in route or the on market route, and accordingly those details will be reported to the other depository, that is an SDL. And if it is an early pay-in transaction, and then in that case the blocked quantity will be reported to CC for the early pay-in benefits. Then on market within CDSL, pool to pool will be allowed, but while giving the pool to pool instructions, the client or the member will be required to provide the UCC details of the client. Okay, so these UCC details will be matched with the obligation, and this on market transaction will be considered for processing only if the transaction details matches with the obligation details received from CC. Of course, here, although this pool-to-pool transfer is allowed, but there is some discussion basically which is going on with the SEBI. So in future, sooner or later, there will be restrictions while doing the pool-to-pool transfer or inter-settlement transfer. So at the moment, it will be allowed, but in future, there will be certain restrictions for pool-to-pool or inter-settlement kind of transfers. Then there is one more type of transaction where the member will be required to provide the UCC details mandatory, that is PUSA to CM pool account. See, in a case where the securities are lying in the PUSA account of unpaid clients, and if a member is selling those securities using the client UCC to recover the pending dues. So in that case, while transferring the securities from PUSA to CM pool, again UCC details will be made mandatory for execution. And once the securities are received in the CM pool accounts, from there, CM can initiate a normal pay-in or the early pay-in transaction. So even in this type of transaction also, providing providing UCC details will be mandatory. So these are the transactions where providing UCC details will be mandatory. So this is how basically the block mechanism functionality will get implemented effective from 12th November 2022. So I think with this background, we can start taking the question from the participants.
So Prashant bhai, just to summarize, there are two changes that are happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
One is everything will move to block, and the second thing is it will be checked with obligations.
It will be checked with the obligation. That is
So
correct.
these two things are happening together, more or less.
Yeah. So block will be from 12th November. This block will be applicable for early paying transaction, which is currently also applicable, but it will be mandatory from 12th November. But for other non-EP transaction, basically that will be implemented at a later stage. So for that, SEBI has given the deadline of 25th November. Okay, so for non-EP transaction, balances will not be blocked, but it will be checked with the obligation, and then only it will get debited from the client account.
Yeah, Mr. Pivoted.
Yes, Uttam, sir. So now, Prashanti, thank you for highlighting the important points. And now, members will begin the Q&A session. As always, we request you to raise your virtual hand. Becomes much easier for us to communicate. So we start with the Q&A session. Kapilji, your question, please.
Yeah, I had this question. Now, in that example that you gave now, suppose ki hello.
Kapilji.
Yeah. So suppose on Monday the client has sold Reliance 100 quantity.
Okay.
Correct. He has sold 120 quantity. Let's say 120 quantity he has sold, and on Monday only member has done the early paying for 120 quantity, but the client's demat account has only 100 quantity shares. Now on Tuesday, the balance 20 quantity has come in his demat account and the client has 120 quantity. Now CC, now on Monday, the transaction, the EP transaction will go under overdue status.
Correct.
On Tuesday, CC will block the quantity, 120 quantity, and report to CC, or will it do it on Tuesday, or will it do it on Wednesday morning?
No, it will be done on Tuesday once the sufficient quantity is received in the client account. So
Okay.
the moment these additional 20 securities are received in the client account on Tuesday, the entire, that is 120 quantity, will be blocked and will be reported to CC.
Correct. Just one more question. Now, supposing 120 shares were available in the 100 quantity was available in the client's demat account. The client's obligation is for 120 and member has done the paying for 130 quantity.
130 quantity.
Yeah,
Okay.
130 quantity. Now on Monday he has done the paying for 130 quantity. Now the early paying transaction will go under overdue status because the balance is only 100.
Correct.
On Tuesday, suppose the client has 120 quantity in his demat account.
Okay.
Obligation is also for 120 quantity, but the paying member has done, that is for 130 quantity. Now whether CDSL will block 120 quantity on Tuesday or will it block on Wednesday morning?
So in this example, since the what you have said, transaction setup quantity is 120 or 130?
130. The transaction setup quantity is for 130, but the obligation is only 120. But the obligation is going to be settled on Wednesday. So whether CDSL will block on Tuesday itself or whether it will block on Wednesday morning.
So in this case, since the setup quantity is 130, obligation is 120, there is a balance of 120. So on receipt of obligation, so we'll be blocking this 120 quantity and will be reported to CC.
So that will be done on Tuesday itself, or whether it will wait for Wednesday till the settlement date and then it will block.
No, no, it will be done on Tuesday itself.
Okay, okay, fine, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Amitji, your question, please. Amitji. Nainaji, your question. Yeah, Amitji.
Sir, my question is that अभी जो last question same था, this client ने 100 shares allowed किया, total उसने 200 shares sold out किया उसने, और 100 shares का उसने आज हमें early payment का दे दिया, और 100 का हम क्या next day उसका early payment लगा सकते हैं?
हाँ, लगा सकते हैं. So basically your example is if client has done early pay-in for 100 shares.
Yes.
And he has given early pay-in transaction for 100, so 100 will be blocked, will be reported. But subsequently, when the obligation received from CC is 200 shares, then additional early pay-in of 100 shares will be possible. And
Amitji,
on next day.
background sound.
Okay. On next day, na?
Yeah, so next day a setup of early pay-in for additional 100 shares is possible. So once that is received, 100 additional quantity will be blocked, and again will additional 100 quantity will be reported to CC. So basically, at any point in time, the quantity to the extent of obligation quantity will be blocked and will be reported to CC.
Amitji, you're on mute. Nainaji, your question, please.
Sir, if I have a client who doesn't have a POA and he's having a shares in KUSA and we are selling, so can we sell from KUSA? Means there is no restriction on KUSA to pool and IST, no?
No. So in this case, if the client is unpaid and you have credited the client securities to your KUSA account, so you can sell those securities.
Okay.
So once the securities are sold, then you can transfer the client securities from your KUSA account to pool account. And while transferring, you will be required to mention the client UCC. Then CDSL will check the obligation details of transaction for the mentioned UCC with the CC obligation details. And if it is matched, then it will be moved from KUSA account to the pool account.
Okay, we can do pool to pool also, no, sir? One settlement to other settlement, only we have to mention the UCC. UCC is mandatory.
Yes, yes. At the moment, pool to pool transfer is allowed, but as I have mentioned, some discussion is going on with SEBI. So maybe in future, this pool to pool kind of transfer will be restricted. But at the moment, it will be allowed, but it will be allowed with the UCC details.
Okay, up to 12th November only, sir?
Yeah, yeah. After effective from 12th November, any pool to pool transfer will be allowed by mentioning the UCC details mandatory.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Santosh Kumarji, your question, please. Rameshji, your question, please.
Prashantji, one small clarification is required.
Yeah.
This obligation, when you are receiving from the exchange, will that be applicable for the interoperability or how it is? Because in case if any client is selling the quantity in the both exchanges, for example, if the client is selling BSC 100 shares and NSE 50 shares, his total obligation is 150 shares, and I am giving the early pay instruction for the 150 shares.
Okay.
So how are you going to match that actually?
So basically here in this case, as per my understanding, even if the client basically is trading the securities in both the exchanges through the same stockbroker.
Exactly.
Okay. So the obligation which we receive from CC is for the consolidated quantity. That is what my understanding is. And if that is the case, the only single instruction can be given by the client, although the trade has taken place in two exchanges.
So we'll be getting consolidated only, right? Because we heard that actually, depositories will be getting from the CC's different obligations for the different exchanges. So then there'll be an issue with the obligation quantity. If it is consolidated, if we are getting it, is fine actually.
Yeah, yeah. So that is what my understanding is. Basically, CC provides the obligation details to the depositories after consolidating the traded quantity if the trade has happened through the same stockbroker.
Fine, sure. Thanks, Prashant.
Urviji, your question, please. Urviji? Samirji, your question, please. Samirji, please unmute yourself. Your question, please.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, Samir here from Centrum Broking.
Yeah.
Yeah, in these regards to the block mechanism demat account of client undertaking sale transaction, that circular which is received. In that case, the point number 3, the client or POA holder of the client giving interdepository within CDSL on market transaction type 5, delivery instruction to transfer security from client account other than CM settlement account to CL settlement account will be discontinued effective from November 12. In that case, the many of the our client which is settled by the custody CP transaction. In that case, they are transferring stock on the basis of POA from client account to their CDSL pool account, and further transfer from a CDSL pool account to NSDL pool account for paying purpose. In that case, the client account to CDSL pool will be allowed for CP clients or not?
So actually, as mentioned in the circular, so from client account to pool account will be discontinued from 12th November. So to answer your query, this client to pool transfer will not be allowed.
Okay. So the custody has to provide the interdepository instruction. That is possible, right? From client account to NSDL pool account.
Client account to NSDL pool account. Yeah, even client account to NSDL pool for CP clients, you're saying whether transaction will be allowed.
Yeah.
Just one second.
Yeah, sure.
Samirji, actually, can we come back for this query?
Yeah, not an issue, sir.
Yeah, please. I mean, speak with us later. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Rohitji, your question, please. Rohitji, please unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes.
सर ये क्वेश्चन मैंने बहुत बार पूछ चुका, बट मेरे को सीडीएसएल से कुछ ऑप्शन नहीं आ रहा है, रिवर्ट नहीं आ रहा है. बेसिक इन केस ऑफ कैश सेगमेंट में एज अ ट्रेडिंग मेंबर हूं मैं, ठीक है. कैश सेगमेंट में एज अ ट्रेडिंग मेंबर इसमें मेरा इम्प्लीमेंट होगा.
Sir, actually, your voice is getting cracked.
Okay. In cash segment, I'm as a trading member, not a self-clearing. My Globe is a PCM. We are appointed as a PCM as a Globe.
Okay.
For clear our trades. So
Okay.
in block mechanism, how the system will work in our scenario?
Yeah. So basically, for this scenario, so if you are a trading member and client transferring to TM pool, and subsequently you might be transferring it to the CM pool.
Right.
So as per the guideline issued in the circular, it will not be allowed. But basically, we have received certain representations from certain brokers. So we are just thinking on that. So maybe we can within a day or two we can give more idea on this.
Yeah, because the deadline is so near, so we don't much more time for implementing any testing for that.
Yeah, we'll revert to you as early as possible.
Yeah, but because sir, I'm asking this question so many in BBF seminar, but till date I didn't get any solution from them side or sorry from your side. I'm getting.
We will definitely provide you the solution, sir.
Yeah. Okay, sir. So.
Nilesh, your question, please.
Yeah, Prashantji, my query is related to UCC. Members are required to mandatory pass the UCC, and in case about the mismatch in UCC, because exchange is providing some UCC to depository as well, and there is a mismatch of UCC code, then what will happen to such obligation or such pain?
Then the transaction will not be considered for processing. Whatever.
But the problem is not from our end. The problem is between exchange and depository, because we have traded in the correct code. Then only UCC has accepted the trade. But it's between exchange and depository. There is a mismatch of UCC, and due to which pain will not happen. Then how it will be taken care of? Because see, trade will be allowed by exchange only if UCC is perfect.
Yeah, that is correct. But then basically as a depository, as a depository, whatever UCC details which are mentioned and the transaction details with the UCC details mentioned in the transaction, if that matches with the obligation details which we receive from CC, if that matches, then only the transaction will be considered for processing.
Yeah, that's true.
Basically, if there is a mismatch, what you are saying is basically if exchange is giving some other UCC to depository, so that will be required to take it separately.
So, Prashantji, I think this question can be answered in a different way. Typically, UCC seeding is an automatic process in which depositories and exchanges have some kind of algorithm.
Correct.
Okay, किसी तरह exchanges अपने UCC depository को देते हैं, depositories demat में डाल देते हैं. ये this is how it's supposed to work.
Correct.
Suppose case conversation that system fails, as Nilesh Bhai is pointing out. Okay, in some cases, is there a manual process, an action that we can take as a BO or a DP where a UCC can be seeded? Can we put up a request to the DPM and then you can verify the exchange and add it on? Is there a process? If it is, could you explain that process?
Actually, that can be added by a client in through his DP, but then it will get activated only when actually there is a corresponding match with the exchange UCC.
So basically, if any client goes to his DP and says, please, my UCC add kar do, and the DP processes it in the CDSL system. After it's put in the CDSL system, do you send a call to exchange to reconfirm ye sahi hai ki nahi, or you just check with the existing database?
No, we change the existing database.
So if the exchange is not giving a proper database, then again it won't work.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that UCC seeding is not on the real-time basis between exchange and depository. For example, if we do a code punching in SIDA system, then generally we don't get a UCC seeded immediately, because it take T+1 day, maybe late in the evening or on the next day we get a UCC seeded confirmation. So this has to be taken care, because sometimes what will happen, early pain has to be done and UCC is not seeded. Then early pain benefit will also not be getted, and pain will also get go into the toss.
Yeah, sir, the example which you have given, in that the UCC was received from exchange earlier, but for some reason it was not mapped to the account.
Yes.
And now the DP is entering the request to map that UCC. Is that the case?
Yes. Yeah, I will take a new account opening. For example, on Monday, new account has been opened. UCC has been done properly by the member in the exchange platform. On Tuesday, the stock has come from other DP to his demat account, and Tuesday itself he had sold the shares. And Tuesday evening, as a member, I will try to do a early pain of that particular stock. And as per means, I had seen that on the next day UCC is not getting seeded properly between the exchange and depository, and that UCC request is not coming for the obligation.
So it usually comes by Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, T+1. I generally, what I had seen as per my experience, if Monday's account get opened, then Tuesday late evening or Wednesday morning the UCC comes as a seeded.
So Prashant, this is a feedback. The entire UCC seeding system between the depository and exchanges, please have a look, because from 12th onwards, all hell is going to break loose.
Yeah, we will.
If you can do a one-time reconciliation as a one-time exercise and get all this sorted and smoothen it, that would be very helpful for the community. Though these cases would be less than 0.5% or very few, but एक भी case है, so it's probably a very dangerous situation.
Yeah, correct, sir. But the ideally this issue arises when the UCC is activated at the exchange first, and then the demat account is opened. Because we have taken up this matter with the exchanges. So exchanges say that whenever they enter the UCC is created by the member, immediately that automatically that request is been sent to the depository.
Boss, एक चीज basically in the public, if I create a UCC by Monday, by Tuesday or at least by Wednesday, it will get seeded in my account automatically. This is the process. Correct? Correct? Is it a fair hope?
Ideally, it should be done on the same day, provided the account was opened before that UCC was triggered at exchange level. So what we are saying on Tuesday or Wednesday, that is because the account was opened at later date, and the UCC is that in such a situation the member has to actually put the UCC mapping request is that from his TP's end. So that has been not done. So when they raise the query, we take up it as a goodwill gesture or something like that. Our IT processes it, and that's why that delay is there. So it's not an ideal process. It's a exceptional case. It's a workaround that is being carried out right now by our IT team.
No, I'm actually not clear by what was made, but I think in the end we'll talk about the UCC topic in detail. But this is a forever topic. But
basically, what we will do is whatever UCC related problems are faced by the members, so maybe those will consolidate and we'll try to understand what.
Prashant, like एकदम simple member committee का request है. यदि exchange UCC record में वो particular PAN का UCC है, तो वो डीमैट के अंदर भी होना चाहिए. ठीक है, ये काम है एक्सचेंज और डिपॉजिटरीज का कोऑर्डिनेशन का, ये हमारा काम नहीं है. यदि ये नहीं हो रहा तो इसको कराइए, क्योंकि ये मेरे हाथ में भी नहीं है. यदि आप मानते हैं ये हो रहा है, हम कहते हैं नहीं हो रहा, हम 20 एग्जांपल दे देंगे, ठीक है, लेकिन ये मैटर को रिजॉल्व करना पड़ेगा. अभी तक तो चल रहा था, अब तो पे ही नहीं होगा, माल ऑक्शन होगा, बहुत हल्ला मचेगा, है ना नीलेश भाई?
करेक्ट. अभी पहले से काफी कम हो गया यूसीसी मिसमैच का प्रॉब्लम, बट अगर एक दो भी केस आ गया तो अपन फंस सकते हैं.
I agree, sir. I agree. We will definitely.
Yeah.
Take your suggestion. We'll definitely work on it.
Correct. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Durga Mishra ji, your question, please. Please unmute yourself.
Prashant.
हाँ बोलिए.
I have a couple of questions. Suppose your early plain instruction we are executing and UCC is not linked. So how should I get a response? Instantly the instruction will fail, it will wait till the matching of obligations happen?
No, if UCC is not there, then the instruction will fail instantly. Basically, in the response itself, you'll get the reason that transaction is not processed due to invalid UCC.
Yes. And that instructions will remain live as overdue status if the shares are not in the account.
नहीं दुर्गा जी, अच्छा यदि UCC नहीं है तो इंस्ट्रक्शन तुरंत कैंसिल हो जाएगा, तुरंत का तुरंत.
Yeah, that's one. Second question. Suppose there is a partial quantity available in the demat account. What will be the status of that instructions?
Overdue. For early paying, if partial balance is available, the status would be overdue.
So before paying deadline time, if the share is coming to that account, that instruction will pass.
So Prashant bhai, let me rephrase this.
Yeah.
With the example.
Yeah.
Obligation is 100.
Yeah.
So, obligation is 200. Balance is 100.
Yeah.
Okay. If I scratch that. Suppose I put in an early pay instruction in the system for X number of shares. If the shares are lying inside, it will get blocked. I'll start getting credit. By end of day when the obligations come, excess will be released.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Second, suppose the balance is not there, then the system will wait till end of it. Suppose I put 500 instruction, the balance is not there, system will wait in overdue. In the evening, it will check for obligation. If obligation amount is lesser, it will take the min of the two, again it will check for balance. And it will बोले हाँ ये हो गया, चल इसको match करो. Suppose min of the two है, उसके भी नीचे balance उससे भी कम है, the system will wait for the entire day tomorrow suppose that T+2, it will wait till 8 o'clock on T+2 कि भैया हुआ कि नहीं clear. नहीं हुआ तो T+2 8 o'clock जितना भी शेयर है उतने का पेन करके आगे बढ़ो गाड़ी. Is this the logic?
Yeah, perfect, sir. So you have explained it correctly.
You are absolutely right.
Okay, so this is the logic, friends. Durgaji, does that answer your question?
Yes. Now, one more question, Prashant. We have very few demat accounts where UCC is not linked, but we have uploaded in the exchange platform. So how CDSL can help us?
So, as we have said, UCC related question, now maybe we'll take later. So that
in the end, Durgaji अपने खाली UCC वाला मारामारी करेंगे. ठीक है? If I may use that word.
Okay, Prashant, I'll talk to you. Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Harshad ji, your question, please. Harshad ji, please unmute yourself.
Good evening, sir.
Haji.
Sir, question is related to MF redemption and buyback transactions that take place on the stock exchange platform. Sir,
Yeah.
MF redemption में segment code क्या डालना है UCC में? Because in the UCC list of values, there is no specific value for MF segment as such. So उसमें हम लोग segment code blank भेजे क्या?
नहीं सर, आप एक काम कीजिए, आप कैश का डाल दीजिए सर.
01 डाले.
या.
Pranav ji, your question, please.
Yes, sir. Pranav here.
Yeah, Pranav.
Few questions I have to clear. Maybe ये सब सवाल हमारा वेंडर ग्रुप में हुआ था, बट सबको पता चले इसलिए ये अभी बताना जरूरी है. फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन ये जानना है कि पूल टू पूल मतलब इंटर सेटलमेंट इन पूसा के ट्रांजैक्शंस ब्लॉक होंगे कि यूसीसी देंगे और वो पूल में शिफ्ट होंगे.
पूल में देखो, फॉर एग्जांपल कूसा टू क्लाइंट सीएम पूल अगर ट्रांसफर है, so in that case transfer will take place, so securities will move to pool account.
So मतलब अभी जो चल रहा है the same process, just we have to give a UCC once.
Correct sir, perfect.
Okay, one more code की जो इक्विटी में अंडर टीएम है और इन डेरिवेटिव फिजिकल मार्केट में भी अंडर सीएम के अंडर है, उसका पुल टू पुल बंद हो जाएगा. सो हमको ये बताया गया है, जो भी आगे भी एक क्वेश्चन आया था जिसमें हमको डायरेक्ट सीएम के अकाउंट में अर्ली पेइंग करना है अंडर ब्लॉक मैकेनिज्म, हमको ये पहले बताया गया है. तो ये करेक्ट इंफॉर्मेशन है कि इसमें कोई चेंज?
Sir, can you repeat this question please? I'm sorry, I didn't understand this question, sir.
Yeah, for example, अगर कोई ब्रोकर डेरिवेटिव में टीएम है अंडर वन सीएम,
ओके,
और वो फिजिकल डिलीवरी का पेइंग कर रहा है, so अभी मैकेनिज्म ये था कि फिजिकल डिलीवरी का पेइंग के लिए वो पुल टू पुल उसके सीएम को स्टॉक ट्रांसफर देता था और उसका सीएम उसका पेइंग कर रहा.
करेक्ट.
नाउ द पेइंग में क्लाइंट अकाउंट पूल बंद हो चुका है, सो डायरेक्ट अर्ली पेइंग मतलब पेइंग ही अलाउड है सपोज. तो हमको ये बताया गया कि हमको जो टीएम है उसको उसके सीएम के डायरेक्ट अर्ली पेइंग अकाउंट में पेइंग बाय ब्लॉक मैकेनिज्म करना है.
करेक्ट.
तो ये इंफॉर्मेशन करेक्ट है?
Yeah, so basically client can directly transfer the securities to the CM pool. This information is correct. But I mean there are some representations which
I'm not saying CM pool, I'm saying CM early paying account. पूल में भी ट्रांसफर नहीं होएगा, डायरेक्ट ब्लॉक होएगा और सीधा अर्ली पेइंग ऑफ सीएम से एक्शन ले लेगा.
Yeah. So this understanding is correct. So client can give the early paying transaction from his account to CM's early paying account.
Okay. So इसको अदर वे से अगर हम देखते हैं तो अगर मैं सीएम हूं और मेरे अंदर 4-5 टीएम है, तो फॉर दैट उसका पेइंग का मगजमारी मेरे को नहीं करना है, वो सब ऑटो हो जाएगा एज अ सीएम. मुझे कोई भी इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूट नहीं करना है एज अ सीएम, वो टीएम डायरेक्ट करेगा और डायरेक्ट मेरे सीएम के एक्सचेंज से एपीआई अकाउंट से पहुंच जाएगा एक्सचेंज.
Sir, actually at present what we are advising is in this case TM may inform his client to initiate early paying transaction with the CM ID details of the CM of that TM.
Perfect. तो in that case CM को कुछ नहीं करना.
CM को कुछ नहीं करना. Correct.
Perfect. Perfect.
Correct.
Now इसके अंदर और एक क्वेश्चन आता है कि अगर क्लाइंट ने मतलब एंड क्लाइंट का अर्ली पेइंग डायरेक्ट सीएम अकाउंट में होता है, देन टीएम को कोई भी स्टेटस कहीं से भी पता चलेगा एज अ टीएम.
हाँ, so that is where basically we have received free a few representations, so we are working on that. So maybe, I mean, I'm not committing at this moment, but as early as possible, we'll give you some solution. The solution can be, we may allow transfer from client account to TM pool account, and from there, TM can initiate an early paid transaction, or he can transfer the securities to the CM pool account.
So मतलब पुरानी जो सिस्टम है आप उसको वापस एक्टिवेट रखने का सोच रहे हैं?
Yes, for such cases where TM pool account is involved.
अच्छा, सो मतलब अभी दो पॉसिबिलिटी आती है कि अगर आप ये अर्ली पेइंग डायरेक्ट सीएम में अलाउड करते हो, देन यू हैव टू गिव सम हिप हॉप ट्रांजैक्शन इन अ टीएम पूल अकाउंट. अगर वो आएगा तो टीएम को पता चलेगा कि कितना अर्ली पेइंग या पेइंग हो चुका है, वरना टीएम को कुछ भी नहीं पता चलेगा. और अगर आप पुरानी सिस्टम को एक्टिवेट रखते हो तो देन देयर इज नो इशू.
या
ओके, नाउ वन मोर केस. मैं कूसा से मैंने कूसा से पूल में पहले पेइंग किया यूसीसी वाइज. लेट्स एग्जांपल 100 शेयर का 3 यूसीसी का सेम स्क्रिप्ट का 100 क्वांटिटी का मैंने एक ही सेटलमेंट में पेइंग किया है. और देन आफ्टर मैंने साथ में वो ईपीआई का भी फाइल चढ़ाया कि अर्ली पेइंग अकाउंट से मैं एक्सचेंज के अकाउंट में अर्ली पेइंग का तीनों का सेम ट्रांजैक्शंस का मैंने ट्रांजैक्शंस भी चलाया साथ में दोनों.
ओके,
ठीक है. सो आप मेरे हिसाब से शाम को ऑब्लिगेशन चेक करेंगे 9 बजे. ऑब्लिगेशंस के बाद आप पूसा से पूल में ट्रांसफर होएगा और बाद में आप अर्ली पेइंग का ट्रांजैक्शन एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं.
करेक्ट.
नाउ माय क्वेश्चन इज कि मैंने 3 इंस्ट्रक्शंस में से मेरी एक इंस्ट्रक्शन एनी डैम रीजन से फेल हो. तो अगर वो इंस्ट्रक्शन मतलब पूसा से पूल की इंस्ट्रक्शन फेल हो गई फॉर वन क्लाइंट, तो आप सेम ही इंस्ट्रक्शन फेल करोगे अर्ली पेइंग की जो इंस्ट्रक्शन मैंने लगाई थी पूल से अर्ली पेइंग अकाउंट में ट्रांसफर की, वो सेम यूसीसी की फेल करोगे या कोई भी रैंडम यूसीसी की किसी की भी फेल करोगे? उसका क्वेश्चन ये आता है कि जैसे क्वांटिटी लेवल आप चेक करते हो वैसे ही आपने कूसा से अर्ली पेइंग अकाउंट में भी यूसीसी लेवल चेकलिस्ट डाला है कि नहीं? 3 ट्रांजैक्शंस मैंने दिए, एक फेल हुआ. सामने 3 ट्रांजैक्शंस अर्ली पेइंग के भी दिए, उसमें से जो यूसीसी का फेल हुआ वही वहां पे फेल होना चाहिए.
Yeah, so your understanding is correct, but I need to check this with my development team, sir.
Because वरना एज अ सिस्टम में दिखाऊंगा एक्स क्लाइंट का फेल, एक्सचेंज को बेनिफिट मिल जाएगा वाई क्लाइंट.
Understood. Your query is understood, sir.
Okay. Now the third question, inter settlement and कुसा जो अब तक हम पेइंग करते थे विदाउट यूसीसी वाइज, उसका ईपीआई का रिकॉर्ड हम भेज रहे थे. तो आफ्टर दिस ऑल द रिकॉर्ड्स हमको ईपीआई का जो एक्सचेंज को रिपोर्टिंग करना है वो नहीं करना पड़ेगा. एक्सचेंज ऑटोमेटिक इफेक्ट ले लेगा जैसे नॉर्मल क्लाइंट का लेता है वैसा का वैसा.
Correct, sir. Correct.
Is it understanding is correct?
Because basically UCC details will be mandatory. So for early paying transaction which is initiated from although from CM pool account, but UCC details are mentioned, and if that is a successful early paying transaction, we'll be reporting that early paying transaction with the UCC details which is mentioned in the transaction to CC. So no separate intimation by you to CC is required.
Okay. So last request is there, sir. We are at 9:14 को ये वैसे लाइव हो रहा है मॉर्निंग से. जो टीएम वाला सिस्टम है उसमें आप क्या करोगे वो हमको क्लियर नहीं होएगा, तो हम सिस्टम किसको क्या अपडेट देंगे एज अ वेंडर, बिकॉज देयर इज अ फ्यू ब्रोकर which is completely in equity, they are also TM under some CM. तो कंप्लीट पे ही नहीं होएगा, मतलब क्या डेवलप करे और क्या अपडेट दे.
Yes, actually, we noted this point. We'll definitely.
Sir, we'll come back to you shortly with immediate.
By some circular, sir. By some circular, you.
Yeah. By circular, we'll intimate this.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Pravinji, your question, please.
Yeah. So my question is that CDSL is bringing the overdue status for the early paying. So my question is that if the customer is holding the 99,000 shares and obligation is 1 lakh, okay. So available quantity is a larger quantity, and if that quantity available quantity can be reported as a early paying, that will help customer to not to miss out the major paying quantity and get the benefit of the early paying. Otherwise, bringing the overdue status is as good as a client is not doing the paying.
So we take this as a suggestion, but for the time being, what you will be required to do, basically whatever available quantity is, for that maybe you can do early pay, and for remaining quantity, the same can be done at a later stage.
Yeah, but what difficulties are trading members are facing is that they have to check every time the available balance with the depository system. Yeah, these are the difficulty they are facing, and hence our suggestion is that if you bring that further enhancement, that will help to the broker as well as the customer. And what you have bring the on the table, that is really a fantastic. That we definitely appreciating this.
We'll definitely consider this suggestions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mailji, your question, please. Sajishji, your question, please.
Yeah. Hi, good evening. Okay, sir, this is with reference to interdepository transactions. Okay, suppose a customer who is having a CDSL BO is selling some stock, okay, on the exchange, and we have NSDL as our pool. Okay, then as on date, it is getting debited and credited into NSDL pool. But going forward, as it said that it will be under block, and only on BOD that stock will get. So what confirmation I will be getting? Today I get a confirmation from NSDL portal wherein it says a block confirmation is there, and some codes comes in, whereas 45 is 100% blocked and 51 is wherein pain has happened, but early pain benefit might not be given or something like that. Will I be getting such a confirmation here?
So actually from CDSL side, you will get the status as confirmed by other depository.
Okay, so this will be which file, sir, which I can download?
Confirm by actually, if you are a DP, basically for DP 57, you can get.
Okay, I'm not a yeah. Other than the DP as a broker, will I be able to download some files?
So from broker side, just one second. Sandeep, can any
Need to check. We'll get back to you. The transaction status so easiest. Can you read the transaction is from easiest that the inquiry will be available. If it is from CDSL, currently it is not there.
I think we'll because actually for a DP it's very simple, but if you're not a DP for CM, we'll just check and we'll revert you, sir.
Nikhilji, your question, please. Nikhilji.
Yeah. I'm able to hear you. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah. This is Nikhil. I'm calling. I'm from the Creative Capital. Basically, we have a preferred deposit that is the NSDL, and we are doing a pay-in as of now through the NSDL system for the CDSL plan also. So basically, we are uploading the file in the NCL platform for the early payment, right? So now onwards, the in case of the blocking system, if we continue with the CDSL NSDL system, the how the paying it works. And second question is that we are trying to do we are trying to start the paying through the CDSL to CDSL by using the EGS system. But there is some issue we are facing that POID we are trying to open a new POID with the CDSL, but the technical support are not getting from the CDSL side, and that's why we are not starting the CDSL to CDSL block mechanism right now. Please go ahead, sir.
Sir, for sir, who is your RM, sir? In CDSL?
That is Kunal Mehta, Kunal Shah, yeah, Kunal. I don't know his surname.
And what is the name? What is the name of your DP, sir?
I'm from the Philip Capital, sir.
Philip Capital, you are saying, sir?
Yes, Philip Capital India Private Limited.
Okay, so for your second query, sir, I will ask Kunal to coordinate with you. So we'll handle that, and definitely will ensure that you get a proper.
We are sorry to interrupt you, sir, but we are following up for this to start the early paying with the CDSL from the last 1.5 months, but it is not done, sir. Sorry to say this.
We'll definitely sort it out, sir. We'll definitely sort it out.
And my first question is that in case of the we are continuing with this NSDL depository, in that case, so how we do the early paying for the CDSL and how it works. That means the CDSL, in case of the we are generating this instruction from the CDSL account, CDSL beneficiary account for the NSDL pool account. So it is credited to same day to the NSDL pool account, or whether it is fetched on the paying day, T+2 paying day.
So for client having account in CDSL, and if you are initiating early pay-in, inter-depository early pay-in from client account having CDSL to NSDL pool account, providing UCC details will be mandatory. So once the UCC details are provided, your transaction will get matched with the obligation details. If it is matched, then these early paying transaction details will be provided to CC, sir. So since these details will be provided with UCC, no separate intimation to CC is required.
Okay, so basically we are required to use the UCC wala format for the inter-deposit transaction, correct?
Yes, yes. Oh, UCC will be mandatory, sir. So in this on-market transfer, that is from client to NSDL pool, if you don't provide the UCC, then transaction will not be considered for processing. So UCC will have to mention.
My question is,
So
my question is that once inter-deposit transaction done, after that I have to upload the I have to follow the same process like upload the UCC detail in the NCL platform, or it is a separate file format CDSL have, which is directly upload and UCC system, UCC details in the file format itself.
So no separate instruction is required, neither from member side or from anybody. Basically, the moment this inter-depository transaction is an early payment transaction, and once the balance is blocked, it will be reported to CC. So no separate intimation to NCL or to CC is required, because you have provided the UCC details. So early pay-in transaction with the provided UCC details will be reported to CC.
Okay, but that UCC details inbuilt in the file format, right?
Yeah. These details, the provision to mention the UCC detail is provided in the file format. Once again, I'm repeating, without UCC, this transaction will not be taken for processing.
Right. So in that case, the transaction will happen on the same day, or it will be done on the T+2 day.
No, so if you are executing early paying transaction on T day, okay, block will take place on T days itself if sufficient balance is there and if transaction, and then subsequently the block will remain till paying day morning. So on paying day, securities will move from CDSL client account to NSDL pool account. But before that, on T day itself, immediately after blocking the balance in CDSL account, will report that early paying transaction to CC.
And the CC will give you credit for the early payment.
Yes, correct.
Right. It means we require to upgrade the holding on the client's account till the T+2 day, right? So in case of the shortage, or if there, in case of any shortage in client's account, in case of the client having the sold the 100 shares of Reliance and he having only the 50 shares, and that time paying will be not done, and in case the balance is available on the paying day, it will be done itself, right?
हाँ निखिल जी, मैं अभी 20 मिनट पहले डिटेल में ये पूरा पॉइंट बोल चुका था. How the shield will move.
I'm just joining right now. That's why I'm not.
You want us to repeat that point again? We can do that.
No. I'm just asking.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sudeep ji, a question, please. Sudeep ji.
हेलो सर.
हाँ जी.
Yes, sir.
Actually, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि how will be the broker match your back office details? Because all the shares block in client limit account. तो कोई CDSL कोई फाइल देगा जो मैं बैक ऑफिस रिपोर्ट करके मैं.
नहीं, आपको बैक ऑफिस में कौन सा रिपोर्ट चाहिए?
नहीं, मान लीजिए मेरा सारा बैच तो बैक ऑफिस से जनरेट हो रहा है.
नहीं, देखो दो चीज है, कौन से क्लाइंट का अर्ली पेन हो गया वो तो क्लेम कॉर्पोरेशन रिपोर्ट देगा.
हाँ
करेक्ट.
वो क्लाइंट के अकाउंट में ब्लॉक हो गया, वो मैं अर्ली पेन का दरकार नहीं है.
नहीं, जो शेयर्स, मतलब एक तो क्लेम कॉर्पोरेशन आपको लिमिट देगा क्या क्या अर्ली फाइल देगा क्या क्या अर्ली पेन हो गया. उसके अलावा आपका डीपी आपको होल्डिंग देगा, कितना फ्री बैलेंस है, कितना ब्लॉक बैलेंस है, कितना प्लेज बैलेंस है.
अभी
अब आपको और कौन सा रिपोर्ट चाहिए?
राइट ना हम लोग क्या करते हैं, जो मैं बैक ऑफिस से बैच जनरेट करता हूँ सिस्टम में डालता हूँ, वहां से मैं ट्रांजैक्शन फाइल इंपोर्ट करने से पूल का ट्रांजैक्शन फाइल इंपोर्ट करने से मेरा मैच हो जाता है कि मैं ये पेज पे लगाया और मेरा.
आप डीपी हैं कि खाली ब्रोकर हैं?
डीपी ब्रोकर दोनों ही.
हाँ, तो आप सीडीएसएल डीपी है ना?
सीडीएसएल एनएसडीएल बोथ.
अच्छा, एक्चुअली I think a back office vendor should be able to help you. Every back office is obviously analyzing, reporting, working in a different way. There are certain reports जो डिपॉजिटरीज देंगे जो बैक ऑफिस को अंदर रिपोर्ट करना पड़ेगा सर. ट्रांजैक्शन की जगह आपको रिपोर्ट्स इंपोर्ट करने पड़ेंगे. हेलो, क्योंकि ट्रांजैक्शन तो कोई एज यू राइटली सेड ट्रांजैक्शन तो है ही नहीं.
ट्रांजैक्शन है ही नहीं, क्लाइंट के अकाउंट
तो बेसिकली खाली ब्लॉकिंग है. तो दीज आर ऑल रिपोर्ट्स. सो जो भी एनएसडीएल और सीडीएसएल की जो भी रेलेवेंट रिपोर्ट्स हैं वो आपको बैक ऑफिस को रिपोर्ट करना पड़ेगा. आपका बैक ऑफिस वेंडर ही आपको बता पाएगा कि वो अपने ऑफिस को उससे कोडिंग कैसे किया है. बाकी आईसीसी सॉरी आपका क्लेम कॉर्पोरेशन से आपको मिल जाएगा क्या क्या अर्ली पेन हो गया. सो दैट विल बी अ सेकंड चेक इफ यू वांट.
थैंक यू.
थैंक यू.
Siddhan ji, your question, please. Siddhan ji.
Sir, good evening, everybody. We are DPs with CDSL and we are clearing to ICCL. Most of the clients have DPs with us, but there are some NSDL client accounts also where the client DP is with NSDL. Currently, they transfer stock to my NSDL pool. We check that and then allow them to sell for the sake of margin. Now, from 14th, I believe they will have to give an instruction with the UCC exchange code and all that. But I don't have an NSDL early pay account. So what best can be done?
So, Siddhan bhai, I think this is a bit of an NSDL query, but we can take it because it will be for everyone. So, Prashant bhai, please add if you know this. In case you are a CDSL DP clearing through ICCL, बहुत अच्छी बात है. एक दूसरा क्लाइंट है जो NSDL में बैठा है, ठीक है, उसने वहां पे उसको 100 शेयर रिलायंस के बेचने थे, तो अपने डीपी के पास गया, यूसीसी लिख के डीपी को इंस्ट्रक्शन दे दिया, एनएसडीएल की डीपी ने एंट्री मार दी. अब पॉइंट इज अब तो कैसे पता चलेगा क्या हुआ क्या नहीं हुआ? करेक्ट?
नहीं, उसने सामने इंस्ट्रक्शन मेरे पूल का लिखा, लेकिन अर्ली पेन अकाउंट है नहीं मेरा एनएसडीएल का, मेरा केवल सीडीएसएल है। या तो उसको इंटर डिपॉजिटरी अर्ली पेन करना पड़ेगा फ्रॉम एनएसडीएल टू सीडीएसएल।
नहीं, जो भी एनएसडीएल का प्रोसेस, आई एम नॉट सो श्योर, बट एनएसडीएल का प्रोसेस होगा तो एनएसडीएल के अंदर शेयर पड़े रहेंगे, वो ब्लॉक हो जाएंगे इन योर फेवर। दैट्स राइट प्रशांत जी, मोटा
Yeah, that is correct. So logically, I mean this can be confirmed.
There are two places you will get report. One, you will get it from NSDL somehow. Second is ICCL also gives you a report.
हाँ, वो तो जिसका
वो अर्ली पेन में EDIS वाला रिपोर्ट है ना,
हाँ,
उस पे मिल जाएगा, मिलना चाहिए।
Yeah. On the day of paying, the client did not give any separate instruction for paying.
No, वो तो एक बार पेन ब्लॉक हो गया, on the day of pain automatically उठ जाएगा माल।
Okay, now I just need to help the client how to fill the slip. If they have not mapped the UCC, yeah, because that's the level of education I need to give.
That is our job, boss, which is okay.
Yes.
So logically आपको NSDL में client को बोलना पड़ेगा कि early pay transaction initiate करो, wherein CDSL का early pay account mention करना पड़ेगा, UCC settlement ID detail देना पड़ेगा। So एक बार initiate हो गया तो then वो quantity block होके NSDL ICCL को report करेगा, आपको early pay benefit मिल जाएगा, and pay in day पे वो securities client account में debit होके CDSL में आ जाएगा और pay in में जाएगा। खाली थिंक ये CDSL का प्रोसेस है, NSDL का भी सेम होना चाहिए। You can confirm that with NSDL.
Okay, thank you. That was a lot.
Yeah, Amish ji, your question, please. Amish Gandhi ji, your question.
Yeah. So hi, I have two questions. I'll just go one by one. The first question is related to SLBM repayment mechanism, wherein we have to do the pay-in from our client account to CM pool account, and from that pool account it will go to exchange pool account. Now, as per the block mechanism, if I did the pay-in from client account and instruction is given to the CM pool account, based on that particular instruction, is this particular leg will get blocked, or it will still remain open till the time the further discussion is currently happening with SEBI, and then subsequently we have to again give the instruction from CM pool to exchange?
You are a trading member, is it?
Yeah.
Trading member.
We are trading cum clearing member.
तो CM, I'm confused. आप cash segment की बात कर रहे हैं?
SLBM. I'm talking about
SLBM. Sorry, my mistake. हाँ.
SLBM.
प्रशांत भाई।
या तो SLB का अगर क्लाइंट अकाउंट से अर्ली पेड आप करते हो, ओके, तो वो सिक्योरिटीज डायरेक्टली CC को पेड में चला जाएगा, एंड उसका अर्ली पेड का डिटेल भी, आई मीन द सेम प्रोसेस व्हिच इज एप्लीकेबल फॉर कैश सेगमेंट, दैट विल बी फॉलोड.
Sorry, sir, just this is a repayment leg. Say for an example, Amish Gandhi is a borrower, and today my repayment leg is there. As per the repayment leg, we have to give instruction from pool to pool for to get NSDL pool account or CDSL pool account, NSDL pool account to NSDL pool account. So here, what we will do, we will get this repayment instruction from the client account, give it to the CM pool account of the member, which is ours, and from there we have to give it to the exchange pool account. Now, how does this leg will get completed?
Sir, I will be required to get back to you on this, sir. Can we talk this offline? I will understand your query and will provide you a solution, sir.
No problem, sir. Thank you. And second query is this: so for an example, customer comes up with some instructions that he has some on-market shares to be transferred from his current demat account with us to some other trading member's account. But in the current environment, we do not have these instruction slips nomenclature defined properly, in which sequence you need the UCC or TM's details or segment details. Currently, it is in the old structure, and we have not, if I'm not wrong, we have not received any official notice or some guidance from NSDL, CDSL, both, that what kind of changes that we need to do in the instruction slip as well.
Basically, what I think both the depositors mentioned in the respective communiques, you can basically attach an annexure to the DIS, or maybe these UCC details can be mentioned on backside of the DIS. Okay, and the sequence can be as mentioned in the communique, like UCC, CMID, exchange ID. The sequence is not important basically, but when the DP will enter those details in the system, so those details will require to be entered by the DP suitably, so that these transactions can be considered for further matching with obligation from C6.
Sir, I understand that as per the depositories, we know that we can attach the annexures. But if customer is coming to give these instructions, then in that case, customers would require some sort of clarification that at the time when customer approaches how to give the instructions from his current demat account, which is affiliated with us as a depository, in favor of some other trading member where he has to do this early pay-in and do the block mechanism, then we need to guide him like that, right? That you write it on the backside of the slips and do that thing. But I mean, eventually then this particular instruction slip structure need to be changed. I believe
it will get changed, sir. We'll separately will issue the guidelines with the DIS format wherein provision to provide the UCC details in DIS will be incorporated.
Okay, and sir, when can I get back to you on this SLBM and on which number or contact details through which we can connect, sir? If you can just help me with that, it would really be appreciated, sir.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, the contact numbers are given on the slide. So any number actually you can contact will definitely revert.
Okay, to specifically, I have to contact you or somebody. Can you guide me with some specific person, spokesperson?
I will give you my extension also. You can call me on 23058675.
23058675, sir.
Correct. You can talk to me.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lineshji, your question, please. Samirji, your question, please. Unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, we are from Nirmal Bang Securities Private Limited. We have one question.
सर हमारे पास ऐसे क्लाइंट है जो EGS भी जिसका एक्टिव है और PO भी दिया हुआ है, तो ऐसे क्लाइंट का हम लोग जब ब्लॉक मैकेनिज्म के लिए फाइल अपलोड करते हैं CM लॉगिन में EGS पे, तो वो क्लाइंट है ना डायरेक्ट ब्लॉक नहीं हो जाता है, तो एक DP के पास वो रिकॉर्ड चला जाता है जिसमें DPN6 फाइल आती है, तो डायरेक्ट ब्लॉक करने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा सर?
DPN6. So basically DP authentication is required in this case, no?
Yes.
So DP authentication के बाद में if it is an early pay transaction, वो तो immediately block हो जाएगा sir.
But why do you need DP authentication if he is given POA?
Since they are saying that उनको DPN6 में वो आता है, so basically these transactions are coming through easiest.
उत्तम जी, क्वेश्चन ये है कि क्लाइंट ने EGS भी दिया है और POA भी दिया है.
करेक्ट. अगर POA जब लोड करते हो तो वो ऑथेंटिकेशन में चला जाता है, जबकि सीधा हो जाना चाहिए. करेक्ट. हाँ, पॉइंट समझ गए. प्रशांत जी सोच रहे हैं.
So the DP has marked the BO as manual authentication mode. So the transaction won't be approved unless the DP approves that transaction.
No, so basically what you are saying is client is a easiest registered client, and he has also given a power of attorney to a member. Yes. So when member is uploading the transaction, or transaction को भी authentication required, that is what
that seems to be an issue. Yes.
CM के लॉगिन में जाके सर फाइल जब अपलोड करते हैं ना, तो वो शेयर्स डायरेक्टली ब्लॉक नहीं होते.
तो फिर वो ऑथेंटिकेशन सर आपको ये
manual authentication. So is the DP and the CM same entity or they are different entities?
Same entity.
So sir, then you have kept the client in manual mode, so you can change it to auto authentication.
सर हम लोग ने
समीर भाई आप क्लाइंट को ऑटो ऑथेंटिकेशन में डाल दो ना, सब क्लाइंट को.
सर हम लोग ने ऑटो में इसके लिए नहीं रखा है कि अगर समझो कि इसका कुछ पेन का शेयर्स है और वो अगर बाहर लेके गया तो फिर उसका ऑब्लिगेशन खड़ा हो जाएगा, इसके लिए हम लोग मैनुअली रखा है सबको.
ये या तो मैनुअल करो, ऑटो तो ऑटो करो. भी ये वाला जो सजेशन है ये इवन CDSL टीम के बॉडी लैंग्वेज से लग रहा है कि उनको भी ध्यान नहीं आया था. अगली डेवलपमेंट में ठीक होगा.
उत्तम जी ये जरा पॉइंट सर क्लियर करवाइए.
करेक्ट है ना प्रशांत भाई?
functionality है सर. सर ये functionality है सर, since actually the registration has happened with the manual authentication mode, तो जब तक मैनुअल में है तो DP authentication तो लगेगा ही.
नहीं, but sir there are two parts. One is you'll have to have a carve out for POA DDPI. See, going ahead, whenever you next development में जो भी changes करोगे, you'll have to this. You're right. If I ask for manual authentication, there should be manual, but POA wala has to be exempted. You have to give or some toggle. You'll have to give that.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
We'll explore this.
Okay, sir. Because time.
अभी भाई ये problem 3-4 महीने तक तो solve नहीं होगी, आपको संभालना पड़ेगा.
उत्तम जी, हर टाइम
हकीकत है
क्या है, एक्सचेंज को रिक्वेस्ट करनी पड़ती है कि टाइम बढ़ा दीजिए करके.
नहीं, ये आपको संभालना पड़ेगा. या तो ऑटो करिए या फिर उसको एक बंदे को लगाइए रिलीज करने के. ये सिस्टम का कंस्ट्रेंट है. सिस्टम का डिजाइन ऐसा है और सिस्टम के डिजाइन को चेंज करने में टाइम लगता है यार. सॉफ्टवेयर है बहुत बड़ा.
चलिए, थैंक यू उत्तम जी. थैंक यू.
हाँ सर.
Vijay ji Kumar, your question please. विजय.
मैं टोरस कॉर्पोरेट से बात कर रहा हूँ सर.
हाँ बोलिए
सर. अगर क्लाइंट डीडीपीआई देना नहीं चाहता है, ओके, और सीडीएस से ईजीएस से लॉगिन से वो अर्ली पेइंग करना चाहता है ब्लॉक मैकेनिज्म से, तो कर सक रहा है सर?
हाँ कर सकेगा ना सर, क्यों नहीं कर सकेगा.
तो अर्ली पेइंग उसको ट्रस्टेड अकाउंट में ऐड करना पड़ेगा.
हाँ, यस, अर्ली पेइंग ट्रस्टेड अकाउंट में ऐड करना पड़ेगा.
अच्छा, तो ये कंसेप्ट है ना सर उसमें? क्योंकि मैंने पूछा था ना सीडीएसएल ऑडिट में, इजीएस्ट में, तो मुझे कहा गया था कि ये अभी फिलहाल तो है ही नहीं करके बताया गया था.
नहीं, आप ये ट्रस्टेड में अर्ली पेइंग अकाउंट ऐड कर सकते हैं और क्लाइंट इजीएस्ट के थ्रू इंस्ट्रक्शन एंटर कर सकता है.
अर्ली पेइंग कर सकता है. ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच सर.
थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Sajeev ji, your question please. Sajeev ji George, your question. Shailesh ji, your question please.
सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन है, मेंबर ब्रोकर बीएससी और एनएससी दोनों में रजिस्टर्ड है और उन्होंने क्लियरिंग इंटरऑप के लिए एनसीएल को सिलेक्ट किया है.
ओके.
हाँ, तो अभी क्या होता है कि जब भी हमने कल यूसीसी का डिटेल अपलोड किया, जो क्लाइंट है वो सिर्फ बीएससी में रजिस्टर्ड है.
क्लाइंट सिर्फ बीएससी में रजिस्टर्ड है.
हाँ, यानी बीएससी सेगमेंट में क्लाइंट रजिस्टर्ड है, मगर ब्रोकर है वो तो बीएससी एनएससी दोनों में ट्रेडिंग कर रहा है.
एक बार इंटरप्ट करूंगा. फ्रेंड्स, वी आर नाउ मूविंग टू यूसीसी. Okay, 6 o'clock. We don't have any more questions, so let's discuss. And clearly, this is becoming a UCC. Looks like it's a building of a UCC issue. हाँ, शैलेश भाई कंटिन्यू.
हाँ, तो कल हमने फिर इंस्ट्रक्शन अपलोड किया जिसमें ये क्लाइंट ने सेल किया था और हमने पहले एनएससी का यूसीसी डिटेल डाला, तो वो एनएससी में तो वो रजिस्टर्ड है ही नहीं, तो इंस्ट्रक्शन फेल हो गया. फिर हमने बीएससी का जो उसका रजिस्टर्ड यूसीसी डिटेल है वो डाला, तो भी इंस्ट्रक्शन फेल हो गया.
उसका एरर क्या है आपको एग्जैक्टली?
यूसीसी मिसमैच.
यूसीसी मिसमैच.
यस
सर, सबसे पहले आपको क्या करना है ना, अगर आपका आप डीपी भी हो तो सबसे पहले बीओ के सामने उसका यूसीसी लिंकेज है या नहीं चेक करना. अगर
वो हमने चेक किया. यस राइट.
हाँ, एक मिनट सर. यूसीसी मींस नॉट ओनली यूसीसी, वो कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ 5 फील्ड्स है. यूसीसी, टीएमआईडी, सीएमआईडी, एक्सचेंज एंड सेगमेंट आईडी.
यस राइट.
तो जनरली व्हाट डीपीज आर डूइंग ना, वो सिर्फ यूसीसी आईडी को ही चेक करते हैं. वो मैच हो रहा है तो लाइक दैट ये है. अगर ये पांचों कॉम्बिनेशन मैच हो रहा है तो देन दिस इशू शुड नॉट कम.
नहीं, तो ये एक टेक्निकल कॉम्बिनेशन हो सकता है कि देखिए उसका क्लियरिंग है एनसीएल में और क्लाइंट रजिस्टर्ड है सिर्फ बीएससी में.
बट उसमें
दैट इज अलाउड.
तो सर टीएमआईडी सीएमआईडी का जो आप कॉम्बिनेशन भेज रहे हो, वो कॉम्बिनेशन में अगर सपोज आप एनसीएल के थ्रू करते हो तो सीएमआईडी विल बी स्टार्टिंग विद M50 whatever it would be, and TMID will be of BSC. So if this UCC is present against the BOID, then the transaction should go successful.
See, हमने वो जो डिटेल्स है ना डीपी के बैक ऑफिस में पहले चेक किया और वहां पर जो भी टीएमआईडी सीएमआईडी यूसीसी को जो दिखा रहा था वही हमने सेम डाल के अपलोड किया.
आपने चेक किया सीडास में? सीडीएसएल का जो सिस्टम है उसमें यूसीसी एक्टिव है या नहीं, वो आपने चेक किया सर?
वो मैं चेक कर लेता हूँ.
हाँ, वो एक बार चेक कर लीजिए कॉम्बिनेशन. इफ इट इज एक्टिव यूसीसी एट द सीडास, then 101% the transaction should pass through if you have passed the same UCC detail which is there. and if there is an obligation.
ओके ठीक है, तो मैं चेक करके आपको बता दूं। या थैंक यू।
So, anybody on the UCC? Nirav, any points on UCC you have? No, but okay. So on UCC, if anybody wants to raise a point, right, we can do it right now. But Prashant bhai, please have a look at on the UCC infrastructure, because we are now coming to a situation ki if there's a UCC seeding issue, it will be auction. There is no way out. Right?
Yes,
that basically जिसका UCC seed नहीं हुआ वो basically बाजार से बाहर है. Till such time for selling shares, till such time उसका seeding बराबर हुआ है कि नहीं. Now there could be a lot of things. You know, sometimes when you mark a UCC is inactive in one exchange, okay, so that then depository में inactive गायब हो जाता है. फिर वहाँ पे active करो तो ये active होता नहीं है. There are lots of things that are happening in the UCC thing. So please requesting depository and exchanges to come together and figure out, at least CDSL should sit with all the major exchanges. Say, boss, tell me what is the logic of you sending a file? What's the logic of me sending a file? How things are moving? Because that will be a disaster. And another thing is, suppose a broker wants this we have asked requested before if from the CDSL system. If I say, which is this UCC combo, which we just asked me to look in the CDAS system. Where can I get this BO ID, 16-digit ID, में ये सब UCC seeded है. A single simple report. So I'll simply do a lookup and see कौन से मेरे trading वाले और DMAT वाले, especially the PO in-house accounts, कहाँ पंगे चल रहे हैं. So that will solve, at least for those who are 2-in-1 accounts or 3-in-1 accounts. 99.99% problem will be solved. So even before the trade happened, we can stop. Otherwise, after trade, we'll be running helter-skelter.
Yes, sir.
So is there any report which via media I can take out? Where I see this report, you'll get the BOID and the UCC inside that BOID. All the UCC in the BOID. With the UCC, TMCM, exchange, all the segment combo. Is already, or it could be a complicated report just nikala ja sakta via media, but if it's not a simple report, then a complicated way, no problem. But is there one? But even if you don't know the answer immediately, sir, iska jawab tak bhi de deta hu, sare members ko bata denge ki bhai yahan dekh lo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll get back on this, sir.
So once we have abhi kya ho raha hai, we are stumbling on these accounts by accident. Then we'll do a complete checkup and say, boss, यहाँ पे है, यहाँ नहीं है, यहाँ पे यहाँ नहीं है, क्यों?
Correct.
Right. I think.
Uttam sir, would you like to add? Yes.
No, I think we're through with questions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Prashantji, once again, thank you very much for your time. And before we conclude, any closing remarks would you like to share with our members as a message, please, from you and your team?
Yeah. So basically, I thank BBF and all its team for giving this wonderful opportunity and present ourselves regarding this crucial implementation. And yes, as I have discussed, actually we have tried to answer to the queries raised by the members. The queries which we have not answered, yes, and ask members to contact us offline. Please do contact us. We'll definitely provide you some solution. And as explained by Mr. Uttamji, so for UCC, yes, we'll definitely provide you some kind of report so that it will be useful to the members. So thank you all to attend the session.
Thank you, Prashantji and team, once again for giving us your valuable time and clarifying a lot of doubts and concerns. Members, you can always write to us and reach out to us at our support desk, the email IDs and the numbers which you are aware of any concerns which we can raise it on behalf of the forum to CDSL and team. So please reach out to our support desk. Thank you once again, Uttamji, for joining, Neeravji for joining. Thank you, Prashantji, once again, and thank you, members. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Prashantji. Thank you, Mr.